Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone. We'll just give it a second or two to allow everyone to come in. Thank you for joining us. The weather this week has been incredible, so I'm sure you'd rather be outside having a walk. I see, Aileen, you've raised your hand. Just to let you know, you're able to put any questions that you have into the Q&A box below. The chat function is disabled just as it's a webinar, but any questions you have, please do pop them in the Q&A. Right, we've a good lot of people in there now. So, Elaine, if you wouldn't mind actually just going to the next slide for me, please.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you. So just before we get started, I'm going to hand you over to Elaine and then Joe, just to go over some housekeeping. So as you can see, the webinar is being recorded and we will share the recording with you afterwards in an email within the coming days, as well as any additional slides that we have to go with the webinar. As I said, if you have any questions, please do pop them in the Q&A box below. The chat function is disabled just as it's a webinar, but the Q&A is wide open, so please do put your questions in there and we'll do our very best to answer them all at the end of the webinar. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to Elaine first.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us. My name is Elaine Ahern from UCD Smurfit Graduate Business School. I'm joined by Joe Houghton, who's Subsidiary Head for Project Management, and my colleague Carol Deering, who leads out on South Asia and recruitment. So welcome and thank you for joining us. This is Michael Smurfit Business School in the background. The purpose of today's webinar really was that I suppose it's been well documented at this stage, the challenges that AI have presented to many academics and many academic institutions around authenticating students' work and the challenges that poses. However, here at UCD Smurfit, in many of our master's programs, we have embedded AI and enabled you to use AI in different disciplines. And one such program is on Joe's master's in project management and the project management online. So today, Joe's going to give you an overview on how AI could not only enable you to study, but also how it enables project management and the careers in the future. So just a small bit about Michael Smurfit Graduate Business School. There, as I said in the background, we have a wide range of master's programs. We have two master's programs online. So we have the Masters in Management online and the Masters in Project Management online. Both of those are part-time programs and they're over 2 years. And then also we obviously have a full-time Masters in project management, which is a 1-year program. We're Triple Crown accredited, which highlights our reputation, and we are a research-led university. I suppose one of the questions people often ask us is, why would you do a master's, or why would you do a master's in project management, and indeed why online? I suppose the benefits of doing a master's with UCD Smurfit is there. So a lot of what we find is that your investment in the time increases your employability, gives you an edge. It certainly increases your network, it increases your connections. We would have over 200,000 alumni and globally, but it increases your network even within Smurfit. It also develops your leadership and personal development skills, and it prepares you for that next move, most especially with project management, when it's such an excellent discipline that can be applied across so many industries. Just a little bit around how the admissions process. We've an open process really, or a rolling admissions process, which means we're open really to the end of August. We'd love to hear from you. I've included the email address or the email address there. This is kind of the entry criteria, but we are always open to talking to you about your options. So please feel free to contact either Karen or myself. And then I suppose we just did a small short poll there just to see whether you'd be interested in hearing a little bit more about project management. So just wondering there, Aisling, if you want to enable that poll. So would you like to hear more about the Smurfit MSc Project Management online or on full-time? So please let us know. I'll let that run for a little while.
That's great. Thanks, Elaine. We'll just give people a chance now to answer this and then we can hand it over to Joe.
Great. I'll stop sharing there, Joe.
No worries, that's lovely. And while everybody's filling in the poll, Carol and I did a thing a few days ago, and so I remember the number. But we have 93% of people who 6 months after they've finished the master's program in project management are in employment, and virtually all of the people who do the part-time program either end up promoted or in a new job by the end of the program. So it really is, unless you want to do further study or go traveling for a year, you basically get a job. It's an accelerator. So yeah, be great to hear from you, whether you want to do the full-time or the part-time one. But on to the main event then. So let me share my screen. Put it up to the top there. Oh, okay. So I'm hoping that you can all see that. Maybe just one of the panelists tell me whether everything.
Yep, we can see it.
My sound is okay, Ashley?
Sound perfect, yeah.
Okay. I've created a Notion page. So Notion is a tool that I use a lot and kind of encourage my students to use as well. And it's a fabulous tool for collating information and presenting information and stuff like that. So I've actually created this as a kind of web page. Now, the chat, I can only share this, I think, with the host and the panelists. So I put it into the chat. Maybe Carol or Aisling can post it into the Q&A for everybody at some point. If they can't, then you'll get a link to this with the email after the event. So everything I'm going to show you now is all hyperlinked to the different tools and stuff like that, and you'll be able to go and play on your own with this stuff. Right. So I suppose we've got to start. If we're talking about studying and using AI, we've got to start with ethics, because since ChatGPT came out, 18-20 months ago now, there's been a lot of discussion. There's been a lot of furore, perhaps, around, AI is the end of the world. Everybody can, create papers using ChatGPT and cheat on their exams and all the rest of it. And yeah, that was an initial kind of reaction from a lot of institutions and a lot of educators. The reality is somewhat different. The reality is that this is a new set of tools. Just like the calculator was a new tool when it came in when I was about 7 or 8. And that was the end of mathematics. And when the digital camera came in, that was the end of photography. And, it's not the end of anything. It's the start. So now we have this amazing new technology, which is a paradigm shift. It's a disruptor to the way we've done things in the past. But what Smurfit has recognized fairly early on, I think, and a lot of other institutions are kind of following behind, is that this isn't something we can just kind of say we hope it goes away and we don't want our students to use it. Smurfit's a business school, yeah, and the UCD Professional Academy. I mean, we exist to help you advance your careers. We exist to help you better yourselves. So we've got to teach you to learn to use these tools properly. So right from the start, I mean, December 2022, a month after ChatGPT came out, I started incorporating AI into the project management master's programs, and continue to do so. I'm teaching staff all the time now about AI. I've written 2 books on it, and there's links to the book up here. On the page that you will get. There's also a newsletter. So I do roughly a week, every week I release a newsletter of tips and tricks relating to AI in education. So whether you're a teacher, an educator, or a student, that newsletter will kind of feed you what's going on, what are the latest insights and stuff. So if you kind of click on that link when you get this page, you'll be able to sign up for that. It's just a free newsletter, it comes out once a week. And number 9 was specifically about AI helping me study. I mean, there's loads of tools, so I mean, ChatGPT, the Microsoft Copilot that links back into ChatGPT, but other ones like Perplexity and Claude, Google has Gemini, and then there's other ones as well. Okay, Notion. So we've got links to all these tools here. If you don't know about them, go and have a click on them and have a play. I've embedded a few how-to videos as well in this so that you can go and have a play. We're not going to get through all this in the next 45 minutes, but it'll be a jumping off point for you to have a play with all that stuff. Okay. So AI tools are here to stay, and we need to be teaching students to use them as tools. And this is something that the university is adopting as an approach. I sit on the kind of university AI steering committee, which has just been kind of formally convened, and the kind of fundamental approach that committee seems to be taking is we need to prepare all our students who are going to graduate from UCD to be able to use AI effectively and ethically and safely. So this is definitely the direction of travel. Plagiarism is a big no-no in any academic institution, and plagiarism passing other work off as your own. So obviously if you just ask ChatGPT to write your paper or your assignment or whatever, and just copy and paste 10 pages straight into your assignment and submit it, I mean that still counts as plagiarism. But what we would encourage you to do now is use the AI tools as research buddies to surface information, to surface papers and other sources of material, sometimes to generate amounts of content, but then you've got to still review that content. You've got to make sure that it fits in the narrative flow of whatever it is you're trying to create. And if you do that, if you do take a paragraph from ChatGPT or from one of the chatbots, then you cite that, you put that in as a reference, just as if you had referenced an academic paper, and then you would put a reference into that academic paper. So it's not difficult to do, and it's not cheating. And this is what we're starting to teach people now, is all that stuff. Okay, so hopefully that will percolate down into all the programs fairly quickly. Some programs are ahead and some programs are a little bit further behind with adoption of AI. But so I say here, check with your lecturer or professor to make sure that they're taking the same approach as me, because there are some that are not doing at the moment, but this is the direction of travel. So I suspect over the next academic year we're going to kind of get everybody lined up on that. Just to give you an idea, I mean, this is the page that I put in my module descriptor of my approach to AI. Okay, so AI is here to stay. Encourage you to use and explore the tools, to help access, structure your thinking. They're great to surface materials, ideas, and sources of information. So again, the warning about plagiarism and stuff like that. And we will all, and what I do now in pretty much all my modules is include at least one 3-hour session on uses of AI, tools that you should use, how you should use them, the best way to do things like prompting and stuff like that. And we've got more on that kind of further down. So, we don't just say, go use AI, because a lot of people will look and say, well, I don't know how to, what tools should I use? How should I interact with them? And all the rest of it. And to be honest, that changes literally on a week-to-week basis at the moment, which is why I do the newsletter, because I'm reading about all this stuff all the time. And the newsletter is just a way of me dumping stuff that I come across into a format that other people seem to find useful as well. I mean, there's 2,000 plus subscribers to it now. So, it seems to be meeting a need. I just want to share this with you before we go any further. This is the shape of things to come. Now, I came across this last week. I think the World Health Organization released this about 2 weeks ago. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and it's just going to bring up in the browser here. So let me just bring this up. So this is from the World Health Organization, and they've just released Sarah, who is a smart AI resource assistant for health. And Sarah is a fairly realistic bot that you can speak to, who will then speak back to you. So you can basically hold a conversation with this this AI avatar. And she is obviously back-ended into some kind of ChatGPT-like bot that can access certain sources of information. Okay, so what would you like to chat about? So she can talk in 8 languages, okay, via video or text, and she's providing tips to de-stress, eat right, quit tobacco, be safer on the roads, and various other health things. Okay, so speak to Sarah. There's a little pause, and then she will say something like, "Hello, I'm Sarah." Okay, so let's talk about.
Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a digital health promoter and want everyone to live a healthier life. I'm new and I'm still learning, but aim to offer you the best available information. The good thing is, I will be updated on a regular basis and constantly be improving. What would you like to talk about?
Well, I'm a 60-year-old male and I don't really do any exercise. Is that good for me?
It's important to incorporate physical activity into your daily routine, regardless of age or gender. Regular exercise helps maintain a healthy weight, strengthens muscles and bones, and reduces the risk of chronic diseases. I recommend starting with small steps, such as taking short walks or trying out low-impact exercises like yoga or swimming. How can I support you in incorporating more physical activity into your life?
What would be the best way for me to start swimming?
That's great that you're interested in swimming. I recommend starting with a beginner's class at your local pool, where an instructor can help you learn proper form and technique. If classes aren't available, start.
Okay, so you get the idea. So this is a conversational bot that, you know, looks like a real person pretty much. Now, early days, this is the first one I've seen out in the wild. So if this is what we've got today, in 6 months' time, she will look completely natural. There will be no pauses, because there was that little pause after I spoke when she kind of processed and then came up with an answer and then, you know, translated that into speech and stuff. The lip syncing will get better and better and better. Okay. So what does this mean for teaching? So in a couple of years' time, maybe I'll have an avatar. And, you know, will you get Joe or will you get the Joe avatar in the class? These are, you know, things that are coming down the line. For personalized teaching, I can see that what we're going to get in the next few years is we will have teachers in class, because that's, I think, still going to be valuable. But you will also have a Sarah that you can ask questions of for any topic, for any discipline. Yeah. We can already create these as text bots, but the technology is just about here to now start creating these as text plus visuals, and, you know, put an avatar on the front. So the shape of things to come, but it's already here. You know, science fiction is not fiction anymore. This kind of stuff is happening. But today we are, you know, and today probably for the next few months, okay, we're still mainly in text mode, where you're typing in questions to something like ChatGPT, and then you're getting text back. The multimodal, as they call them, chatbots, will also allow you to upload things like images now. Increasingly, there's a talk button, so you can click on the microphone and speak to the chatbots. Copilot allows you to do that. ChatGPT has a really, really good phone interface. So if you haven't done that and you want to have a little play, download the official ChatGPT app onto your phone. And in the bottom right-hand corner, when you open the app up, are 2 little headphones. And when you click on those, ChatGPT is now in conversation mode. So I use this in the car all the time. So if I'm thinking about a new lecture that I've got to put together, or a new learning session, or I've got a paper to write or an article to create or whatever, if I'm driving somewhere, I'll fire up ChatGPT and I'll just start having a conversation with ChatGPT and ideating around the stuff that I want to cover in that article or that talk or whatever it is. And I can ask questions of ChatGPT, and he or she, you can choose the voice, will give me answers. So I'm having this conversation in the car. When I get home, I log on to ChatGPT on the computer, and the conversation that I've just had in the car is all available as a saved conversation, and all the text is there on the side, and I can just copy it in and paste it into whatever document that I want to then start working up slide decks or a Notion page or learning materials or whatever it is. So the ways that we can interact with AIs are fast moving away from just having to be at a keyboard and type. And this ability to interact with the technology in a much more natural way is, I think, breaking down barriers, and is going to make it that this stuff becomes the norm much more quickly than perhaps it has before. So leveraging that with your studies. If you want to supercharge your studies now as a student, treat these chatbots as study buddies, treat them as coaches, treat them as facilitators. Okay. Because what we've had for the past 20 years, I think it was 1998 that Google search first came out. So 27 years ago. And we've been conditioned. This generation has been conditioned to interact with computers by putting in one question, and then you get a set of links. Right? And that's how we used to interacting with computers. We have to unlearn that behavior now to get the most out of the chatbots. And I mean, I'm doing multiple training and teaching sessions a week now on AI with students, with educators, with corporates, with nonprofits. And what I'm seeing at the moment is that there's maybe 10, 15% of people are more than just using ChatGPT with these single line questions. Okay. So if you want to step your game up with ChatGPT or Copilot or any of these other bots, start having conversations with them. Treat the bots as another person. I mean, the way I think of it is, this is my assistant. Okay. And I'm having a conversation with him or her. And sometimes the stuff that they give me back is kind of not quite what I want. So I'll say, well, no, that's not quite what I was wanting. Let me explain it a different way. Give me this, and this. Give it me in this format. I want it aimed at a particular level of student, perhaps. So I might say, well, this is for a class of 15-year-olds who don't know anything about project risk management or whatever. And the more information that you give the bots, the more the responses are tailored to give you particularly what you want. One of the things that, I mean, most people have got access to ChatGPT. So if we go to ChatGPT and have a look at it, there's these things called custom instructions. Okay, so let me just fire ChatGPT up here, and I'll bring it up onto the screen. Okay, and custom instructions work both with the free version, which is 3.5, but also with the paid version of ChatGPT, which is 4.5 or 4. Okay. I'm not going to update that now, and I've got a little add-in. So you see these buttons down on the right here, and this looks slightly different to what you would probably see if you don't have this add-in installed. Okay, but that add-in, if I go back to my Notion page, is this link here, Superpower ChatGPT. Okay, and what this does is add some extra capabilities onto ChatGPT, and it's a free install. So I would recommend installing this add-in. So when I come down to my account, there's this option here to customize ChatGPT, and you get these options for custom instructions. And this changes the game using ChatGPT. because without these custom instructions, you just get vanilla ChatGPT. It's the same as everybody else gets. Okay. But when you put in, what would you like ChatGPT know about you to provide better responses? So what I've got here is, a little bit about me and my kind of academic persona. Okay, so, I'm an assistant professor, academic director of the project management programs. I've written some books, da, 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 da. The biggie, though, is the bottom one. Okay, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? And you've got 4,000 characters here. And this is where you can say, things like use inclusive and accessible language in UK English. Okay. Never suggest seeking information from elsewhere, because vanilla ChatGPT kind of gives you some very odd responses sometimes. So you can kind of force it to act and behave and respond in a way that's more conducive to the kind of responses that you are hoping for. Okay. I've put in the Notion page, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the Notion page, when you get the link, let's just scroll to the bottom. Yeah, I've put in that these are my custom instructions. So you could just copy and paste those and add, adjust them to your particular circumstances. And this will give you a much better output from the chatbots. One particularly good one is this one. Okay, so after each response, provide 3 follow-up questions worded as if I'm asking you. Yeah, format in bold, da, 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 da. So if I go to ChatGPT and we come out of this, okay, back, yeah, save. I don't think I made any changes today. Okay, so, tell me about, I don't know, project risk management. Okay, so what it'll do now, it'll give me a response. I'm hoping it'll give me a response. It doesn't seem to be responding, which is always the way, isn't it? Let's try going to 4. Refresh the page. Don't you love live demos? Yeah. Tell me about risk management. Okay, there we are. Okay, so we're going to get a generic response about risk management now, but at the bottom of the response, we will get 3 follow-up questions. Okay, and you don't get that unless you've put that into your ChatGPT custom instructions. So this is absolutely super, because in the car, I would get this read out to me, and then ChatGPT would ask me, it would say, oh, I've got 3 follow-up questions for you. Question 1, how do cultural differences, da, 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 da. And I could just say then, oh, expand on question 2 for me. Yeah. And then she would be off again. And at the end of the next response, she'll give me 3 more questions. So it kind of continues that dialogue. It continues that interaction. And this is where the power comes in from using these tools. Okay. So here, that's how you start to interact better, to get more out of this stuff. Okay. How do you recommend? I'm just looking over to Kira has put a question in the Q&A. Thank you, Kira. How do you recommend that someone keeps their voice personality while using Gen AI? I'm finding as an educator, I can sense when someone has used ChatGPT to assist in writing. Yeah. Last year, I could get a clear sense of the person, whereas now the assignments kind of are coming over as more generic. Yeah. And what's happening is then, if your students are just copying and pasting, basically, they're asking a question, they're taking a glob of text and pasting it into their assignments and stuff. How do you get past that? I run sessions for my students now where we get them to write answers themselves to a prompt or a question. And then we also, after that, get them to go and see what ChatGPT or Copilot gives them, and then compare the answers. Yeah. I might set up assignments and questions that are more problem-based now than just give me an essay on Marie Antoinette in the, whatever, the French Revolution or whatever. So I'm looking for students to give me, if you like, their experience and their feelings and their thoughts. So the kind of critical analysis of data, of material, because data, okay, you can get that from Google now, you can get that from ChatGPT, you can get that from anywhere. But it's what I'm looking for then is the student to kind of put their spin on that. But I think we've now got to, as educators, be a little more conscious and proactive at kind of pulling that out of the students. So we've got to make those expectations clear in our briefs and even in our rubrics, so that, you know, you might say, if you just give me generic information, okay, you know, that's a D. Yeah. What I want to hear is your voice. I want to hear your stories about how your experience links to this. I want to tell you to tell me whether you think this is good or bad, or whether you like it or you don't, and why. Yeah. And that forces them into critical thinking. That forces them into, you know, a dialogue with the material that the AIs are giving them. And that means, to some extent, changing the briefs of the work that we're giving them. So I don't know whether that's going to help, Kira, but that's kind of the way I'm approaching it, and quite a lot of other educators that I'm involved with are doing it. Anonymous attendee 1300. Is it worth getting the paid version of ChatGPT 4? No. Okay, what you want to do, and back up at the top of the document, I've given you the list of key AI links. Okay, this should now be your default AI link, copilot.microsoft.com. Okay, so this is free. And if you use Copilot, now I'm using Microsoft Edge rather than Chrome. And I used to use Chrome, but I've switched to Edge because Edge integrates Copilot. So you actually have Copilot up here. And when you click on that, you get Copilot over here. Okay. Now you notice we've got three options. Okay. Creative, balanced, or precise. Precise and creative both link under the hood back to ChatGPT 4. So if you're in ChatGPT, you've got to pay them €20 a month to use ChatGPT 4 and get the benefit of that much better chatbot engine. Yeah, Copilot automatically links to ChatGPT 4, but you don't have to pay for it. Okay, so that's your way in to the most powerful version of ChatGPT is using that. Okay, the Supercharge GPT add-in is just an add-in that you can then install in Edge or in Chrome. So that, and then that just appears in ChatGPT when you run it. Okay. You can't feed ChatGPT text to review, and at the moment you can only add images into Copilot. Okay, but one of the other tools that I would highly recommend, you know, if you're only going to spend on one subscription, because a lot of these new tools are subscription based. So let's say you could stretch to, like, you know, I don't know, €20 a month. Okay, if you were only going to spend on one subscription, I would subscribe to Perplexity. And Perplexity is one of the AI tools, and it's www.perplexity.ai. But when you sign up for the pro version of Perplexity, yeah, you get access to pretty much every other AI engine. So you can tell it, use Claude, use ChatGPT, use Copilot, use Gemini, use Llama, any of these different ones you get at through Perplexity. But even with the free version, it has this option to attach files. Okay, so if I click on attach, I can upload anything, you know, any PDF or Word documents into this. And then when I'm asking questions, it's looking at that information. So this is really, really useful. So you see, I've got 3 left today on the free on the free subscription. So I can upload up to 3. So if I go and say, I've got a book on project management. Okay, so Project Management Made Easy is my textbook. There we are, the first edition final PDF. Okay, so that's uploading my project management textbook into Perplexity, and Perplexity is one of the ethical AIs. So this, I'm safe to upload this because it's not going to end up in global circulation. Okay, so now Project Management PDF is in there. That's a 400-page book. I mean, there's a lot of information in that book. Okay, so I could ask it, what are the aspects of the ECCSR framework, right? Which is a framework that I kind of came up with and which is in that book. So it's not kind of generally out there. It's really in this book. Okay, so now it's going to have a look. There's the sources, you see, that Microsoft Word document. And now it's giving me an answer about the ECCSR framework, ethical projects, creating, collaborating, sustainable results. Okay, so this is the ECCSR framework, and it's taken that from the book. So Perplexity is absolutely fantastic because it's a good chatbot generally, but it also allows you to upload documents like academic papers and whatever. You can say, give me a summary, and it'll give you a summary. Now, you don't necessarily even need to go to Perplexity to do that now, because the Adobe PDF reader, which is a free reader that anybody can download and install on their machine, now has some AI smarts built into it. And one of those is interrogating PDFs that you open in it. So check out the Adobe PDF reader as well. That was only updated about a month ago with those new AI smarts. So that's free as far as I understand it, for anybody to use. Okay. We've got questions about research and stuff like that, and there are many tools that can help with research. Okay, so I've given you some more tools here. Gamma is a fantastic presentation tool for generating decks and present, like PowerPoint, but it can do it. It's kind of auto magical how that can work. We've got Ludia, which is a Poe-based. So Poe is one of the other AIs, and this is a chatbot which is trained on universal design for learning. So if you're an educator and you want your information and your teaching materials and your learnings to be UDL friendly, you can pop them into Ludia and ask questions, and it'll tell you how to improve them from an accessibility and from a UDL perspective. Okay, so that kind of thing is there. And so we've done that. So some prompting tips, and then we'll come back down onto some more of the research stuff that was asked in the chat. Okay, this is just a little set of ideas on prompting frameworks. So again, don't just ask one question. Okay, so if you do ask one question, RTF. So act as a role. So what you would say to ChatGPT is, act as an expert in 18th century history. Okay, I want you to tell me about a figure from 18th century history, whoever that was, and I want you to give me 10 key pieces of information about that person in a table. Okay, so we've got what role do you want the chat GPT to take? And the more clear you are on things like the role, then ChatGPT will work in that role. And it changes the game. It changes the way that the information comes out. So if you're a student, one thing you should be doing now on a regular basis is saying to ChatGPT or Copilot or any of the other ones, okay, you are an expert in whatever subject you're studying, physics, chemistry, math, doesn't matter, okay? You're an expert in this. I am a student studying at grade level 7, or I'm a 15-year-old student, okay, and I'm struggling with calculus, okay? ask me questions and prompt me with answers to build up my knowledge of calculus, for instance. Imagine you were doing grinds and you paid for somebody to come and help you. And so what you would be doing, you would be having a conversation with them and they would be setting you some questions and seeing how well you did. And then they would be establishing your level of competence, for instance, and knowledge. And then they would be asking you questions that were kind of aimed at where you are at to make sure that you improve. And you can set that kind of thing up with any of these chatbots. You just have to ask those kinds of questions. Okay. And this is what I mean about getting away from the way we've always done it with Google, which is just ask a question, get a set of links. You don't do that with the AIs now. You've got to engage in a dialogue. You've got to set this up almost as a relationship where you are starting to get to know each other. You're giving it information and asking it for information, and then you're, adjusting based on the conversation and stuff like that. Okay, so that's quite a good little. That's a good little thing. I mean, there's lots going on at the moment in the space. If you want Chat Copilot, I mean, everybody can access the free version that I just showed you. But if you want it built in to the Microsoft tools, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, OneNote, Outlook, yeah, you've got to pay Microsoft $19 a month to do that. Okay, which means that you're actually within Word and you can ask questions, or you're within PowerPoint and you can say, generate me a deck, and it will do that kind of thing for you. I mean, if I go over to Word here and just open up a new document, you see, so I've got Copilot appearing now in my ribbon. Yeah. So I can click on that little icon and I can ask Copilot to give me something. Yeah. Give me a lesson structure for a 1-hour intro talk on AI for teachers. And if I'm logged in with the right account, which sometimes Microsoft seems to get its knickers in a twist, and depending on what I've been doing previously, it will or won't do this. So if it takes longer than it should, then I'm logged in with the wrong account. But what will normally happen is within Word now, this will give me an answer. Yeah. So you could do this if you've not got the Copilot subscription in Copilot on the web, and then just copy and paste the answer into here. But once you've got Word installed, normally, yeah, it looks like it's glitching again today for me. But that will appear now straight into Word as editable Word text that you could have typed yourself. Okay, so this makes it nice and easy to do this kind of thing very, very quickly. We're going to get personalized chatbots very soon. And personalized chatbots will be bots that are based on Copilot or Claude or whatever, that you set up with maybe a base set of data, some instructions about how they should behave, whatever, and then the chatbot will behave as a coach or as a whatever. Yeah. So one thing I've done recently is I set a little chatbot up. I do a lot of talks to camera clubs. Okay, so here we go, and I'll open up a new tab. Yeah, and I set this little bot up a little while ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago. Okay, to be a photo judge. And this is that you can just create Copilot GPTs. Okay, so I've set this up to be an amateur photography club photo judge. Yeah. So I can add an image. So if I upload an image and I go to print photos and let's find an image to judge. Okay. Okay. So here's an image of Danny and April when they were little. All right. And all I need to do is just put a question mark in there. Okay. So there's the two of them when they were tiny. they've just turned 12 and 13. So that's a little while ago now, isn't it? Yeah. So what this is doing, and this is the multimodal part of Copilot. Okay. So I've uploaded an image. I've not asked it text questions. I've uploaded an image, but the questions are already kind of built in now. Okay. Okay, here we are. So now it's going to critique this photo based on the Federation of International Photography guidelines. Yeah. Some 6 areas that I'd asked it to give comment on. The PAGB, which is the UK kind of photographic federation, and the PSA, which is the American Photographic Federation. So I've now got critiques, and you can quite clearly see, okay, the image of the 2 children in a warm embrace is quite touching. So it's seen what the photo is, and it's analyzed it, and now it's giving me feedback on, how good it is, how technically good it is, whether it could be improved, that kind of thing. This took me half an hour to set up, and anybody can set these up. So teachers, you could set this up to be Marie Antoinette, yeah, or Marie Curie, and you could have your students now dialogue with these historical figures, for instance, yeah, and it would respond as if it were, Marie Curie or whatever, and it would answer questions about radium, and it would know that Marie Curie lived when she lived, so it, all the sights and sounds and the limitations of, when she was around would be part of the conversation. And this kind of stuff can bring learning to life. So as educators, we need to be educating ourselves in these new ways of thinking about how we can create engaging learning experiences, but leveraging the power that we now have with AI. Yeah. Does this mean that students can't use AI to produce higher quality research and assignments? Absolutely not. I mean, I think it's another superpower for research. And some of the tools that are available now for research are amazing. Okay. So I've got some more prompts and things here, for you to use as a student. Tell me about subject, maths, and make your answer suitable for undergraduate first-year student of social studies in what case. Yeah. Yeah. Give me some theories, models, and approaches relating to whatever that illuminate my assignment brief, and then copy and paste in your assignment brief. Okay. So now all of a sudden you've been presented with, okay, well, there's these theories that apply to this assignment brief. There's these models that you should be thinking about. I asked my students this term to write me a short reflection on what we'd covered in the term, and do a critical analysis of it. And a number of students said, well, is there any model that we should use? And I mean, I pointed them at Kolb and Gibson, and there's various learning cycles models that they could use, but they could have just done that. They could have put that into ChatGPT, and it would have given them those different models and those different theories, and then they could have used that to structure perhaps their thinking. Okay, so act as if you're Christopher Columbus on your voyage to the Americas in 1492. Yeah, and Copilot can create images as well. So if I just go back out to Copilot there, where are we? Copilot. Okay, and I'll just paste that prompt in. Christopher Columbus on board his ship, setting sail for the Americas in 1492. So I'll just say, create me an image. Create me an image showing Christopher Columbus. Okay. So not only can Copilot read images, but it can also generate AI images. Yeah. And every time you ask it this, it'll generate a new different image. I think it gives you 4 images, and then you can download those and you can use those. So here we are. We've got 4 images now that we can use. And, they're dressed in the dress style of the times, 1492. Yeah. And there we go. Okay. So these are all kind of, I don't know how historically accurate to the T these things are, but they look, they certainly look like they're kind of 1400s, 1500s kind of images, don't they? So this kind of stuff is so easy to do now. Okay. Get AI to critique your work. So again, I've given you some kind of start of a 10 prompts here. Yeah. Create me a primer on subject area. Let me read and understand it. Then ask me a series of questions to test my knowledge of the subject based on the information in the primer. If I get the answers wrong, tell me what was wrong and show me examples of better answers and tell me why they're better. So now you've got the AI acting as a coach. Yeah. So you get an answer wrong, it tells you why, and it's not going to run out of time. And it's not going to run out of patience, and it'll keep going as long as you want it to. And it's there in the middle of the night, or it's there in the middle of the day. It's there on your phone when you want it. Yeah. Because, that's perhaps one of the problems with a lot of modern education is we don't have enough time with our students. We don't have enough time for that one-to-one interaction. We don't have enough time to do the personalized work with every student, and every student is slightly different and is at a different level of comprehension and has different, understanding and whatever. Well, the AIs are going to be able to fill some of this gap if we teach students how to do this. So as educators, I think it's incumbent on us to help students learn this stuff. And it's not going to make us redundant, because we'll still need the human touch. We'll still need the empathy and the understanding. But I think AI now gives us the possibility, huge possibilities, of amplifying the learning experience for students in a way that we've never had before. And now I'm an optimist on AI. But, I think that we've got a huge opportunity, and it's only going to get more and more and more. So I know we're at what, 23 minutes past. Aisling, did you want to kind of do the last 5-10 minutes for questions and answers, or was there anything?
Yeah, first of all, that was great. Thanks for that, Joe. Yeah, if you want to have a look in, can you see the Q&A box, Joe?
Yes, yeah. So I don't know.
You can scan through it, and maybe, we only have time for maybe 4 or 5 questions, and then we'll have to cut it short, unfortunately.
Is it possible ChatGPT could enable plagiarism? Yes. Well, I mean, it's plagiarism if you just cut and paste from ChatGPT without citing. Okay. Can professors detect this? No, not reliably. There is nothing on the market right now that can reliably detect plagiarism. Okay, and anybody that claims that their product is actually making false claims, and there's been quite a lot of research done, and the research is ongoing. Now, there was a very interesting piece of work done by an Irish student, 19 years old. He was actually talking yesterday in the convention centre at the project management conference, and he's actually put together a kind of scanning algorithm for detecting AI inputs and stuff for student work or whatever. And the claim is that his algorithm is something like 95% effective, but most of the current plagiarism detection tools are 50-60% effective. Well, that's huge amounts of false positives. You can't be putting students in the sin bin for using AI with only a 60% chance of it being right. So more dangerous than it's not. Now we need as educators to change the way we are structuring and presenting the assignments and the briefs. Okay. Does the inputted data leak? Depends on the chatbot you use. Don't put anything sensitive into ChatGPT or Copilot unless you are using a corporate version of Copilot, in which case you get this big banner on the screen with Copilot saying you're in a safe sandbox. But ChatGPT basically will take anything you upload into it and it adds it to its training data. There is a way of turning that off with a toggle in the settings, but I still wouldn't trust it. So Perplexity and Claude are built on more ethical principles. So I would be much more happy uploading stuff into those without being worried about where it ended up. Yeah. Is there an AI tool that will generate content in PowerPoint and use appropriate images to tell the story? Yes, Mary. So have a look at gamma.ai. And also, if you pay the $19 a week or €19 a month to Microsoft, then you get Copilot in PowerPoint. So you can ask it to generate you a 10-slide deck on whatever. Boom. It just generates it in PowerPoint for you, and it takes about 15 seconds. It's amazing. Dermot, to me, my newsletter is available, and the link will be in the top of the it's in the top of this this thing here. Okay, so I don't know whether I can share that. If I put that in the chat, does it go to just the host and panelists, or is that? Yeah, I think it just
that one went to hosts and panelists, but I can share it to everyone there now, so everyone should be able to see it there in a second.
To the newsletter.
Yeah, there it is there now for everyone.
Yeah, lovely. Okay. Fabulous. Do you have to have the ChatGPT Pro to use the GPT Builder? I think you do in ChatGPT. So the GPTs are hidden behind the Pro account, but Copilot, I don't think you need the Pro account. If you want to build your own ChatGPTs, there is a link to Poe somewhere in my list of links here. Poe.ai. Go have a look in there, and you can create your own chatbots very, very quickly and very, very easily for free. Okay, so there we are. Duncan, you talk about how these tools have changed the educational, teaching, and research playing fields, much to our benefit. Yeah, what hasn't changed? No machine can replace the human learning process. Anything else, do you think? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, I think our access to information has changed and been amplified. I think AIs can simulate creativity, but it's not actually creativity that's being done, because it's actually just bringing stuff together, which mathematically would be, the most likely thing to come next. This is how the generative AIs work. So we're not going to get original thought from the AIs yet, but I don't know whether that will be true in a year's time or 2 years' time. So I still think there is the human interaction, the human criticality, the human insight, and emotion that isn't yet coming through in most of the GPTs. Pi.ai has been written specifically as a chatbot to give slightly more emotionally intelligent responses. And quite a lot of people are using that for kind of like online therapy and stuff like that. So if that's of interest, go and have a look at pi.ai, pi.ai. So that's that. How are you finding the open source chatbots? Paul's asking there at the bottom. They're improving. Yeah, Hugging Face is one, and there is a link to Hugging Face up at the top in the different chatbots and things. So yeah, there's a good down at the bottom here. Where are we? There we are. There's Ludia, that Hugging Chat. Okay, so that's an open source alternative to ChatGPT. I mean, they're a little bit behind in power because they haven't got the millions and millions and millions that have been poured into OpenAI, but they're pretty good, and they're free and they're open source. So that's it. If two people ask the same chatbot the same question, will they get the same answer? No, almost certainly not. Because if I asked Aisling the question now, and then Elaine asked Aisling the question, an hour later, she'd give us roughly the same answer, I would think. Yeah, but it wouldn't be the same words because Aisling isn't a robot. And, it's the same way that these chat GPTs are drawing on the same data set, but they're going to respond in different ways each time they're asked to some extent. So there we go. It's 1:30.
Yes, thank you so much, Joe, for that. And Elaine,
I'm gonna
If
stop
you
the
have any questions about Smurfit in general, you can email smurfitadmissions@ucd.ie. We are going to forward the slides, Joe's document as well, and also the recording to you in the coming days. So please keep an eye on your inbox for that as well. Any closing, Elaine, that you want to add, or is that it?
No, but also you can follow Joe on LinkedIn because he does a lot of so follow Joe on LinkedIn, and Carol and I are always there, so our emails are on the UCD Smurfit website. We're still open, as I said, until the end of August. So we do have other, I mean, the project management program part-time is online, but equally the management program is part-time online, and we obviously have an executive MBA, but we do have full-time programs. So please, we're happy to talk to you or give you any advice that we have, so happy to do that. Thanks a million, Joe. Very good. We couldn't answer the questions. They were way too technical for me.
Sorry.
I mean, this is always is a really good team effort, you know, with Michael in the background and Ashling's pulled it all together, and Elaine is in India dialing in to do this and background. So I mean, you know, thanks everybody for the help.
Yeah. And Ashley's cat behaved itself. It didn't jump out.
Well, she's locked 2 doors down. I can hear her, but I don't think anybody can hear her, so that's good.
Thanks, Ashley. Michael, you're great. Thanks.
Thank you
Joe.
all so much, guys, and we'll catch you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.